but then the work starts, and that's, you have to have fun with that. But I also approach that the same way, I don't try to get too heady about it. And sometimes I'll be on the piano and I'll be on there an hour and a half before I know it's gone. And one day I can't do that. I have to, I only have 5 minutes to be on it, but I make sure I get the 5 minutes in. And so I feel that song and story and dance and painting and all of it is right. It's right in front of us, and it's constantly there, and it's up to us as individuals and artists to be able to find it and let it come to you. And I never wear headphones in the city, never, because I always feel like I'll be missing something. And
for the record, for our non-New Yorkers, it is very rare to find a New Yorker without their headphones.
Yes, on. Not only is it dangerous, but right. I feel like
it's dangerous because people may actually speak to you.
Exactly. So anyway, the stories are popping, and I'm just there to hopefully grab some of it and create it into a larger work. And sometimes I'm able to do that, and I'm lucky. I feel that but as I said, I don't take that for granted one bit at all. I feel like I've been given some really cool gifts, and I don't take that for granted one bit.
In the second part of this interview, we'll take a listen to two of Dan's latest releases, Got Your Back and I'm Okay With It. But in this episode, let's take a listen to songs from his debut release, Broadway Lights. This is Coney Island Girl.
The gypsy on the strand stares deep into her palm, tries figuring out her fortune, figuring what went wrong. Trash can freak dancing to the bullets, painting Pollocks all around him, laughing insults at the losers, but it's he who's a clown too. And the Coney Island girl walks alone in the sand. She quitted school again this year, says she thinks enough in Astroland. Parachute tower pretends that it's Eiffel, lights up with the thunder that rolls and night falls. Summer's getting tired, wants to give in the cold. Condos rising high while the boardwalk's getting sold. And the Coney Island girl walks alone in the sand. She quitted school again this year, says she thinks enough in Astroland. Gangs chased out, suits moving, all for the better. That's what they say. And the Coney Island girl walks alone in the sand. She quitted school again this year, says she thinks enough in Astroland. Parachute tower pretends that it's Eiffel, cold. Someone's getting tired, wants to give in the cold. Condos rising higher while the boardwalk's getting so.
Sounds to me as though you're more of a lyricist first, and that you get your inspiration from what you hear someone say.
Yeah.
But being familiar with your work,
Yeah.
And I hope all of our listeners do become familiar with it. We'll have some songs playing throughout this podcast as well. Being familiar with it, I know how catchy your melodies are.
Yeah.
So where do those melodies come from? How does that?
It comes. You're right that the lyrics for me always, for the most part, I would say 90%, 95% of the time, do come first. In that process, I often will hear the melody of what I'm hearing in some way. So. The opening track, I believe, of Broadway Lights is Let's Get Caught in the Rain. And that came, I remember exactly where that line came from. It was raining. It was August. It had just rained. And, it just hot August summer evening. And we're walking hand in hand, and let's get caught in the rain, So the initial melody sometimes plays into that motion of where the song will eventually be or become. And so often it will come simultaneously, sometimes not. I have a book of lyrics right here. Many of those just came from just writing, and as I said, sometimes I'll tinker around with the piano, and all of a sudden a melody will, come out of something. I'm like, oh wow, that would fit with these lyrics now, and that is that happens often, where I'll be tinkering around with something, I can fit it into some other form, or if I have a lyric in my head, I will record it on my phone so I don't forget it, and I'll sing it, some vague idea of what I think it will be. But often it changes. I would say most of the time it will change once I actually sit down and start, playing it more on the piano. Sometimes it just happens, if you keep it simple, sometimes it really, it can, have that.
And what changes it?
Well, as I said, I'm not the greatest piano player, so often I will rework the songs and what I'm able to do, what works for me.
No, that's very honest.
Yeah,
I think that's refreshing, because it also stays authentically in your voice.
Exactly. I will fit the song to what I'm able. I'm not Beethoven. I'm able to play. I'm not Mozart. I'm not able to do what they are able and we're able to do in such an amazing, accomplished scale. I am able to play my music the way I'm able to play it. So what I will often do is I may initially start off with a melody in my head, and then when I'm able to sit down and start playing with it, I'll either find that, I'm not able to even do that. I can't really necessarily even play it that way, but this is interesting, isn't it? Wow, this is still cool, and I'll be able to play the song into a new way, and or the reverse of that is sometimes like, wow, that was even better than I'm able to what I was originally thought that I could do. So sometimes it reverses itself. Sometimes it is. You pare it down, you ebb and flow, you figure out where it works and what doesn't, and sometimes you adjust. But as long as what you just said, as long as it is honest and real and it still moves you in a way. And I from the history of it, I've known from some different songs, as you may know, we talked before, I'm a big Springsteen fan and Bob Seger fan, and I've heard them sing certain songs, like Born in the USA was originally written as a very slow tempo song. It was very, it just had a different sort of slower feel and a moving feel, but when he pumped it up to Born in the US, both are great. When he sings it slow, it's amazing. When it sings it great, when he sings it in a passionate rock and roll style to a stadium, it's awesome. They're both awesome. They are both awesome. So I think with my navigation, with my music, I try to make it authentic, and hopefully, no matter how it would sound, try to make it as awesome as I can for me. And hopefully others will respond to that. And, so that's a little bit of my style and my way I've approached my songwriting. And
what about your musical style?
In what way? What do you mean?
What would you say? Would you consider yourself more rock, more pop, more quiet storm, acoustic artist? Where do you see yourself?
I think it's a little combination of all those. Truthfully, I'm a singer-songwriter, I think, by initially my category or something, but I enjoy rock music, I enjoy pop, I enjoy jazz, I enjoy Broadway, R&B, blues, classical. I love it all. I really, really do. I just enjoy good storytelling, number one, and I enjoy good music, and as we all do, that's as we all do. I'm not special in that regard at all, but I think that for me, I think there's, and I also think because I kind of sort of came into music later on, my influences have been different. I have been exposed to Broadway musicals. I have been exposed to, growing up, with I have 8 brothers and sisters, so I can go back from the 60s, the 70s, 80s, 90s to current now of music influences that I all enjoy. And I think there is times when you think, oh man, I'm going to try to, maybe write something similar to a genre that you hear on the radio or your CDs or something. But it's funny, I don't necessarily, I can't even come close to what they, in the past, performers who I admire do. They are who their uniqueness is in and of themselves, and that's what made them really special. So for me, I think you can run out of gas pretty quickly if you try to write like somebody else or to be like that. It just becomes a certain style of I'm curious what you think it is. What do you think it could be? I'm not even sure.
No, I would definitely put it in the pop rock category.
Pop rock, okay, cool.
Yeah. You said you studied piano because you wanted to use it as a vehicle to write your songs. Why piano? Why not guitar?
There was a piano in my building.
The invention, the mother of necessity, my dear people. There it is, right there. It's here.
And truthfully, when I was in LA years ago, when I was in acting school, I actually tried to play guitar, and learned a great deal of respect for those who are accomplished, or even those who are semi-accomplished in it. But I was in acting school, and I think the reason that that was literally my primarily focus. I was in a conservatory at the time in Los Angeles, the Stella Adler Conservatory, which was fantastic.
Absolutely.
Got great training there.
Absolutely.
And which led to writing plays, and which led to writing music and all that. But I don't think I was in the right place to learn guitar at that time. I was strictly really pursuing acting, and there was just I wasn't multi, gee, I'm going to play this and all that kind of thing later. I had the discipline of really pursuing acting at that time, and so the guitar sort of playing that